Hey, let's talk about books. So if you follow me on Twitter, which I'm sure most of you do not, about a week ago, I put out I want to read a ton of historical romances. I had read two historical romance arcs, and I just got this push to do a deep dive. And I do really like historical romance, and I have read a lot. So I put up on my Twitter, recommend me your favorite historical romance. I like pretty much every time period for historical romance, as long as it's before the 1920s. And I got a lot of really great responses. Some of the responses were books I had already read or authors that I was really familiar with. But I took that list, I put a bunch on hold at my library and requested a bunch from different libraries in our consortium, and most of them came in. And so today I'm going to show you all the historical romances I got. The most wonderful thing about this is that I did a no buy April. So I just went to the library and got all these books from the library and didn't break my no buy April rule. So the first one I got, which I'm actually more than halfway done with already, is My Fake Rake by Eva Lee. And I have heard so much good stuff about Eva Lee before, but just had never read any of her books. This was not the one that was recommended to me. I can't remember the title of the one that was, but my library had this one, and I remember when this came out, so I was like, oh, I'll grab this one, I'll read it. If I really love it, maybe I'll end up going through a big Eva Lee time period in my life and read all of her backlist. But I'm really liking this one so far. So the premise is that we have Lady Grace, who's our heroine, and she is head over heels in love with Mason Fredericks, and they're both sort of naturalists. She's really into amphibians. He's always off traveling, and she really, really loves him, and she'd really like to marry him because she thinks he's definitely a husband who wouldn't mind her pursuits, her nature pursuits. After they have this conversation, she realizes that he doesn't even view her as a prospective bride because he's currently looking, and he keeps kind of talking to her like she's just a pal. So she has this other good friend, Sebastian, who is really into anthropology and different cultures, and they see each other at the library a lot, but he's not gentry and she is. So she's never really thought of him as anything other than a really good friend. She basically asks him if she can turn him into a rake and then have him fake date her, sort of fake court her to get Mason's attention. I love this because this is one of the instances in which the hero gets a makeover and loses his glasses and then suddenly is so hot and everyone loves him. Obviously, I'm only a little bit more than halfway done, but I think I'm going to finish this today because it's really fun. I've been having a really good time reading it. So that's My Fake Rake by Eva Lee. Next, I've got Wolfishly Yours by Lydia Dare. Now, I've read another book by Lydia Dare. I read it in, I want to say October 2020, and I actually was on the podcast Deconstructing Damsels talking about it, and I'll put a link to the episode in the description. I can't remember what it was called right now. I'll put the cover up right here. There's the cover, there's the title. Sorry about that. But when I put out that on Twitter, Jessica, who runs Deconstructing Damsels, was like, remember how you said you really liked that book and you were going to read the rest of the series? And I was like, oh yeah, I actually completely forgot. So I grabbed another one from that series. This series has a mix of vampires and werewolves, and I'm definitely more of a werewolf person, so I grabbed another werewolf one, and here's the description. Greyson Hadley, hold on. It's so bright, so I had to take my glasses off because the glare is bad, but I can't read without them. Greyson Hadley is in his own special hell, being treated like a wayward pup by the tutor employed to turn him into a true gentleman. So when he meets a hot-blooded American beauty with the mark of a lichen, he's only too glad to slip his leash. Accustomed to running wild in the swamps of Louisiana, oh, I love this already, Miss Lavinia Mayhew is shipped off to her grandfather's in London to learn a thing or two about polite society. At first, she scoffs at the English liken's apparent tameness. Little does Livy realize how very close she is to unleashing the passion that lies just beneath the surface. So I can't wait to read that. Next, we have an author who I absolutely love, and it's Tessa, Or Do You Want to Start a Scandal? Now, this book apparently is both number 4 in the Castles Ever After series, which I have finished, and it's a book in the Spindle Cove series, which I haven't read all of. I think I've read 1 or 2 out of order in that one when they've been on deals for Kindle. But this one has really great reviews, and I know a lot of people love it, so I was like, I need to read this. Also, it's got a great step back. I love these old school Which actually, in this case, I would say like the cover is slightly more scandalous than the step back because her body is covering his chest more in the second one. And we get a bare back in that. So, in this one we have, was it Lord Canby with the maid on the divan? Or Miss Fairchild with the rake against the wall? Perhaps the butler did it. All Charlotte Highwood knows is this: it wasn't her. But rumors to the contrary are buzzing. Unless she can discover the lover's true identity, she'll be forced to marry Piers Brandon, Lord Granville, the coldest, most arrogantly handsome gentleman she's ever had the misfortune to embrace. When it comes to emotion, the man hasn't got a clue. But as they set about finding the mystery lovers, Piers reveals a few secrets of his own. The oh-so-proper Marquess can pick locks, land punches, tease with sly wit, and melt a woman's knees with a single kiss. The only thing he guards more fiercely than Charlotte's safety is the truth about his dark past. Their passion is intense, the danger is real. Soon Charlotte's feeling torn. Will she risk all to prove her innocence or surrender it to a man who's sworn to never love? I love a historical romance hero who has sworn to never fall in love, because he's going to fall in love. Next, I have The Highwayman by Kerrigan Byrne. I've read quite a few of Kerrigan Byrne's books. I read all her Highland Magic series, and then I've read two other ones. One is All Scott and Bothered, and then another one in that series, but I can't remember what it's called. I'll put the cover right here. I'm terrible at titles. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible at titles. But when I put up the tweet, this one in particular was recommended, The Highwayman, and I had heard a lot of people loved it, so I was like, oh, I'll get that one because I do really like Kerrigan Byrne, so it's nice to read one of her books. This one has a really long description, so I'm just going to read the first half. Dorian Blackwell, the Blackheart of Benmore, is a ruthless villain. Scarred and hard-hearted, Dorian is one of London's wealthiest, most influential men who will stop at nothing to wreak vengeance on those who've wronged him, and will fight to the death to seize what he wants. The lovely, still innocent widow Farah Lee Mackenzie is no exception, and soon Dorian whisks the beautiful lass away to his sanctuary in the wild Highlands. And then the next paragraph is about how Farah is not going to be anyone's puppet. But that sounds good. And I also like throwing some Scotland Highland historicals in there. The Highlands are very fun. Next, I've got The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton. So this has been recommended to me several times because I love witches and I love historicals. I did not read the first one, which is like the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. And I'll be honest, I mainly didn't pick that one up because I am sort of I don't really like the illustrated covers very much. I like this one better than the other one because it's got a cool, like, them fighting with the broom and the sword. I think it's cute. But usually I tend to pick, the historical romances that look more like this with, like, the picture. The Clinch shot. Miss Charlotte Petifer belongs to a secret league of women skilled in the subtle arts. That is to say, although it must never be said, witchcraft. The Wiccan League strives to improve the world in small ways. Using magic, they tidy, correct, and manipulate according to their notions of what is proper, entirely unlike those reprobates in the Wisteria Society. When the long-lost amulet of Black Beryl is discovered, it is up to Charlotte, as the future leader of the League, to make sure the powerful talisman does not fall into the wrong hands. Therefore, it is most unfortunate when she crosses paths with Alex O'Reilly, a pirate who is no Mr. Darcy. With all the world scrambling after the amulet, Alex and Charlotte join forces to steal it together. If only they could keep their pickpocketing hands to themselves. If Alex is not careful, he might just steal something else, such as Charlotte's heart. And also, I noticed, I got this from a different library in my consortium, and it has a 14-day sticker on it, so I have to read this one soon. Next, someone recommended just an author and didn't recommend any specific book, so I looked through and found this one, and the author is Lynn Kurland, and the book is called The White Spell, a novel of the Nine Kingdoms, and this seems more like a historical fantasy romance, which I do really enjoy because, I love Juliette Marillier, and that's kind of the subgenre she writes in. A Care of Kingal, there's a lot of hard words in this one. Youngest bastard son of the worst black mage in history has followed in his father's footsteps, wreaking havoc throughout the world and leaving powerful enemies in his wake. After a year of reparation, he owes a final bit of penance, 12 months spent working in a barn without using his magic. Learson of Saracht understands horses, stable work, and how to judge men's hearts. When she starts seeing shadows where there should only be light, she knows there's evil afoot. Unfortunately, it is something she can't fight on her own. A care attempts to aid Learson, only Aker's attempts to aid Learson only draw the notice of dangerous mages against whom he is currently defenseless. With only each other to rely on, Aker and Learson find themselves suddenly in a race to save the world before it's consumed by darkness. Sounds exciting. And lastly, this one was not recommended to me, and I've been telling everyone that I wanted to read this book, but I keep waiting and waiting because my sister owns it, and she keeps forgetting and forgetting to bring it to me. So when I saw that it was in at the library, I just grabbed it. And it's The Devil in Disguise. It's the last in the Ravenels, however you say it, by Lisa Kleypas, which I really love that series, so I know I'm going to love this book. This one, here's the description. Lady Merritt Sterling, a strong-willed beauty who runs a shipping company, knows London society is dying to catch her in a scandal. So far, she's been too smart to provide them with one. But then she meets Keir MacRae, a rough and rugged Scottish whiskey distiller, and all her sensible plans vanish like smoke. They couldn't be more different, but their attraction is powerful, raw, and irresistible. From the moment Keir MacRae arrives in London, he has two goals. One, don't fall in love with the dazzling Lady Merritt Sterling. Two, avoid being killed. Keir doesn't know why someone wants him dead until fate reveals the secret of his mysterious past. His world is thrown into upheaval, and the only one he trusts is Merritt. Their passion blazes with an intensity Merritt has never known before, making her long for the one thing she can't have from Keir MacRae forever. As danger draws closer, she'll do whatever it takes to save the man she loves, even knowing he might be the devil in disguise. I love when they end it like that. Let's throw the title in real quick. But yeah, I'm going to love this book, obviously. And then lastly, I was recommended this book by like 3 people in the group. So I was like, oh, I have to put this in. But it's called The Kingsman by Elizabeth Kingston. It's one of the Welsh Blade series. And I'll put the cover here. I requested it from my library, but in our entire consortium, there's only 1 copy. And it's currently checked out. So I honestly don't know. I might just wait until May when my book buying ban is over and then just buy it. Because I don't know how long it's going to take. Because now that they got rid of fines, people keep their books up for a long time. And I'm extremely guilty of that. Because I don't really feel like the need to hurry back and get my books back on time anymore. But I know this is a medieval set historical, which I'm excited for. Because one of the historical romances I read earlier in the month was a medieval setting. And I really love the TV show The Last Kingdom. If you don't watch it, it's fantastic. And it's a great binge. And it's not a romance, but there are romantic plot lines, and it is set in like 1000-ish. I don't know. It's like around then. I'm not 100% sure exactly when the time period is. But I really have been like in a medieval mood, in like a swords and, small battles type of mood. So I really look forward to reading that and probably reading that whole series. I wish my library had it, but they don't. So those are my historical romance book haul, and so much fun. I can't wait. I'm obviously already almost done with the first one, My Fake Rake, and I can't wait to read another and another. We're supposed to have really nice weather this weekend, so I'm going to sit in my backyard and burn through some romance novels, and I can't wait. I hope you are in the middle of a good book, about to start reading a good book, or about to start writing a great book. See you soon.